In Flames' new album, Foregone, is out, and today we're going to rank their entire discography.
They have a bunch of albums. Stay tuned to the end for our thoughts on Foregone.
Kicking it off, our criteria is that we each like to have 2 S-level picks, and then we're going to do 2 A-level picks, and then everything else can just kind of fall wherever, but we do like to have that very tight criteria.
Keep in mind, just because we rate something D doesn't mean that it's a bad album. It just means that maybe we don't revisit it.
So, kicking it off with 1994's Lunar Strain. While it is a wonky debut, I think it's been like some of the songs have been like remastered and re-recorded several times since the album's release, that this is really a flag bearer in the Gothenburg melodic death metal subgenre, dude. Like, you got some big names that are playing behind the scenes here. You got lyrics by Dark Tranquillity vocalist Michael Stan, who cut his teeth with this band, and he has gone on to be one of the most important producers in metal, like in the world, basically. You know, song-wise, the band came out the gate showcasing their influences by bands like Iron Maiden and Blue Oyster Cult, like super highly melodic, those super highly melodic guitars. Almost reminiscent of some like classical melodies, and you got like that folk stuff. I really like this album. I gave it a B- though. It's because it's a little wonky. Some of the transitions are a little
Timeless melodic death metal record, but it is a debut. I will say that it's a fantastic debut. Maybe one of the best debut metal records that has ever been written, but there are better albums in their catalog. That folk tinged feel is what kept me coming back, and when it came out, I was blown away by it. I had never really heard anything else that sounded like this, and I was kind of addicted. Behind Space and Lunar Strain are easily some of their best songs. It's a fun album. Don't revisit it much though, so I put it in B tier.
Yeah, we agree with that. Behind Space is definitely like one of their best songs too.
Yeah. Jester Race in 1996. I think this is the album where In Flames really grabbed me by the throat and didn't let go. This album is one of their best records, bar none. A lot of people will agree with that opinion. So many memorable melodies, and definitely an album that I love to revisit from start to finish. Favorite tracks, I would say, would be Jester's Dance, Artifacts, The Black Rain is amazing, and then obviously Jester Race. This is an A, no-brainer.
Yeah, dude. In Flames really tightened up their sound on this one, coming out with this masterpiece of melodic death metal. This album was on repeat for a ton of metalheads in the late 90s and early 2000s. It's really on par with Horacle as my like S tier, but I think I'm going to put it at A.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to give Horacle my S. Spoiler alerts, by the way. That is just, it's such a classic record, man. And you look at the track list and it's like every song is fucking awesome. And the pacing is perfect too. I think like 45 minutes top is really where In Flames gets their, you know, their perfection.
Yeah.
And next, we've got my S, Horacle. Dude, this is my most listened to front to back album by this band. Like I said about the pacing, this one's well paced. You know, both instrumentals are absolutely brilliant, helping to kind of categorize the album a little bit. 40-ish minutes, sweet spot, a bit overlooked, really. But if you know me, you know that I love like cult status shit. This one has that in spades. Songs like Food for the Gods, Dialogue with the Stars, Episode 666, like classic tracks. This is my S, man. I love this record.
I'm with you. It's hard to pick between Jester Race and Horacle, but really I give a slight edge to Jester Race, but Horacle is just a fantastic follow-up. Seriously catchy melodic riffing, earworm choruses with harsh vocals, no less. That's pretty hard to do. Favorite tracks, Jotun, Gyroscope, Episode 666. This is A tier for me. What is that, your S?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right, S tier.
S tier for Ben.
We got Ben's S tier is down. Give me an Elder Scrolls 6. Colony 1999, my favorite 90s era In Flames record, to be honest with you. Another album that I love to revisit. This brings me back to my days just like on my compact Presario playing Diablo 2. So many memorable riffs, solos, choruses all over this record. Easily one of their best. Favorite tracks, Embody the Invisible, amazing. Ordinary Story, and then Zombie Incorporated is just insane. This is A tier for me.
Nice, dude. I have all three of those tracks as my favorite tracks. They are unbelievably good. This is not a bad record by any stretch of the means. I just don't find it very heavy in my rotation. There's a lot more power influences on this, which is fine because Jesper Stromblad came out and was like, I want a band that sounds like Iron Maiden mixed with like Morbid Angel. And that's what they did. You know, these influences, they really kind of started to lean a little bit into like the electronic stuff. You hear some of the synth stuff that will be more incorporated in later years. There's a couple filler tracks on this record, but dude, the three songs that you listed are like some of the best songs that they've ever written. I have this at B+, so I think A is a fair spot to put it.
Oh boy.
Yup. Bro, this album is fucking insane, dude. I think people give it some crap because the band was starting to kind of lean into the more metalcore influences. Fuck the haters, dude. This is the album that was the starting pistol for the 2000s American metalcore melodic death scene, which was huge up here. You know, you look at bands like Beyond the Embrace, and there was some other band called Withered Sun that wanted to basically jerk off Gothenburg metal. Front to back, dude, I fucking love this album. Pinball Map, Only for the Weak, Clayman, Another Day in Quicksand. Dude, I love this record.
Yeah, I mean, this is my S tier. Controversial opinion. This is my GOAT In Flames record. Easily my most revisited in their entire discography, front to back. Bullet Ride to Another Day in Quicksand, all bangers. My favorite tracks on here, Bullet Ride, Only for the Weak, and Swim, I think, is one of their most underrated songs that they've ever written. That lead in Swim, oh my God, that is just pure guitarist heaven. So good. Easily S tier.
Awesome. We'll put up no qualms about that.
Reroute to Remain, released in 2002. This is where I feel like In Flames started to have a little bit of a deviation, and they started to move towards that modern metal, alternative metal influence. Not necessarily a bad thing, though. I really do like this record. There were a lot of fans pissed at this album when it came out. Some fantastic songs in their catalog, though. Reroute to Remain's awesome. System is killer. Trigger and Cloud Connected. This is where Anders is really starting to experiment with clean vocals over the harsh vocals. Awesome album, but definitely in their more improved or better mid-level albums.
I'm kind of on the other side of that. I'm one of those fans that didn't like it then, and I gave it a chance, and I still don't like it. I think really, though, it's mostly about the production, dude. The fucking drums, I sound terrible, dude. The snare sounds awful. It's like 2002 in a nutshell as far as like production goes and stuff. It's like they wanted to take it that next step, but the technology was not there, and it just fucking sounds bad. Some of the riffs, however, are awesome, but Anders is such a wild card, you know, and
I agree.
And he does his thing. He is successful. He is, has a certain level of fame as an extreme metal singer, but there's nobody that's ever like roped him in, it seems. Like they're just like, yeah, just do whatever the fuck you want, And like this is the album for me that I do not like his performance really. Some of like the cleans on top of the harshes, while it's different for them, I think it sounds like shit. Subjective opinion alert. This was the first album for me where they had songs that were like garbage. Like Egonomic, Metaphor are fucking terrible, dude. Like I put this at D just because, like, how can you go from Clayman to this record? Like, to me, like, someone was like, yo, you guys could, like, make a lot of money doing this music. And they were
I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
I think they looked at the landscape of, like, what are teenage girls listening to?
It's Hot Topic metal, dude.
And they started experimenting with it, but they did keep some of their DNA intact. They're still...
Yes, dude. Cloud Connected is an awesome song.
Yeah, there's some edge there still, but I enjoyed this album probably a lot more than you did, but I think we can meet in the middle.
Yes.
We'll go see.
Yeah, that's fine. This soundtrack to your escape has a little bit more of an industrial tone, which I actually like. It kind of gives it a nice atmosphere. This was 2004. Okay, so it's still pretty early in like the metalcore scene. Some of their synth stuff doesn't really bug me as much. It's not like as in your face as some of it was in like Reroute to Remain. The drums are once again like full 2000s fucking mode. It does not age well, dude. No. I don't think any of these drum sounds from Soundtrack to Your Escape or Reroute to Remain have aged well at all. There's some more weird stuff on here that I just don't vibe with. It's not total garbage, but I don't think this is anything that I would ever return to. There's a couple shit songs on here again, like My Sweet Shadow and Evil in a Closet or Dump.
I love My Sweet Shadow.
Do you
and
really?
Evil in a Closet, yeah.
Okay, well I thought... I thought the fine songs were A Touch of Red and In Search for I. I put this at C. It's not bad, but it's not...
A C score is warranted here. I think a lot of people will agree with you. This is another deviation that the band took, even closer to that, like you said, alternative, industrial kind of metal sound. But they still write some killer tunes with the bite from their DNA. On a lot of these songs. Anders is definitely focusing more and more on like trying to do catchy vocal melodies and big choruses. I don't think they always hit though. My favorite tracks I would say would probably be Friend and The Quiet Place. The Quiet Place is amazing live. They last time I caught them, up in Worcester was, one of the best performances I've ever seen them. And they played The Quiet Place and it was killer. So I could totally see a C tier for this one. I have it at B, but I'm willing to come down.
Okay.
Now we get to, in my opinion, a little bit of a comeback. Come Clarity, released in 2006. Easily my favorite In Flames record in their early 2000s catalog. They went a bit more back into the melodic death metal roots on this album, but still kept things that they learned from Soundtrack and Reroute and applied them in a way that I think was pretty cool. Awesome tracks like Take This Life is amazing. That's one of the best choruses they've ever written. Reflect the Storm, Dead End is killer, and Crawl Through Knives is an awesome fucking song. So I have this at B. I would say it's one of their better albums.
Okay, yeah. I remember hearing Take This Life, really being into it, sans Anders. It really wasn't enough to like get me to buy the record though. I think that they realized that they were getting a little bit disconnected from their original fan base, the Clayman fans, and
they weren't cloud connected anymore.
No, they weren't. They were cloud disconnected for sure. But I think that this is kind of a bit more what we expected as fans of the melodic death era after Clayman. Like if Come Clarity came after Clayman, I think that would have been a fine thing. I think the band kind of dabbled a little too much into the alt metal category in the previous couple records to really devote themselves to the death metal, and this was more of a death metal style for them. I really love Dead End. Awesome song. Take This Life. Can't get enough of that track, dude. Vacuum, I think, is a pretty cool song. I have this at C+, so I think a B tier is warranted. Yeah. Damn,
I mean,
dude.
this makes sense.
This makes a lot of sense so far. Yeah,
it does.
What do you guys think? Be sure to leave yours down in the comments if you haven't already.
If you don't like it, you can tell us. You will anyway.
Yeah, no, we're going to hear it. Don't worry.
Yeah, we're posers. This is a green screen, by the way. This isn't even real.
Yeah, if you think that we play guitar.
I live in my mom's basement, and this is a green screen.
Yes.
And I've never listened to metal in my life.
No, I don't know what we're talking about.
And I don't know what my purpose is.
A sense of purpose. First of all, I don't understand this fucking album cover at all.
Terrible.
Weird. Musically, the album begins like pleasantly surprising. Like I was like, oh, these first few songs are pretty fucking good. Anders kind of seems to have reined in his weird tendencies that I don't vibe with, at least for the record. He kind of goes full bore on the band's first epic song, The Chosen Pessimist. I think he ruined that song, dude. Like I was like, oh,
Not
cool.
good.
An 8-minute long In Flames song. These guys can write music. It was fine, and then he came in and did weirdness, and I don't like it. Production is finally back on track. You know, like it sounds like the fucking last couple albums before this one really struggled with the tone. Like they had like real meaty guitars, but like weak ass drums and stuff. They finally reined it in. They were like, all right, hey, this is what we're gonna do. I'm the Highway, Alias are a couple of my standout tracks. I have this at C+. I enjoy it. I don't know if I like it as much as Come Clarity, though.
There's some pretty good songs on this album. The production to me still feels pretty bad, and Anders lacks his power in his voice. He goes off key and stuff on this album too, which I mean, it just, I don't know. I feel like he's trying to do that like whiny thing, which is a cool style, but it's very much not reined in.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. And dude, The Mirror's Truth, the lyrics are literally, we're not even trying. And it kind of shows.
Thanks. Glad we bought this.
Yeah. So, I mean, the album overall lacks as much confidence and originality in the song compositions, you know, as compared to their earlier records. It feels forced too in that alternative metal category, and not in a good way. I love a lot of alt metal, but this is just not good. But there are some good songs. Like Disconnected's awesome. Delight and Angers is pretty good. Alias, although it's probably their catchiest and most popular tune on this album, it's not that great. I feel like Anders sounds like shit, but it's fucking awesome live.
Yeah, the music I really enjoy in that, and he does sound like shit on that record, on that song in particular. Yeah.
Yeah. So I gave this one a C.
Yeah, I have it at C. Weirdo album cover.
Yeah, that looks like a corn album.
Dude, it looks like it's like is it an owl skateboarding? Like it, but there's no skateboard. He's like in a skateboarding stance. Like if I saw that from afar, I'd be like, oh, it's an owl skateboarding through like a hall. And then you look at it and you're like, that's not even close to what
Yeah, not even close. No purpose.
No, there is no fucking purpose.
2011. It's a big step up in production, though. This album sounds really, really good. And it inches the band more towards what I want out of the band, but it did not deliver at all. Some really good songs, but overall, a lot of filler. The vocal patterns and melodies in particular feel very weak and uninspired. The riffs are kind of just okay. It just sounds like down-tuned, like bored kind of rhythmic riffing, and it doesn't feel that great to listen to. Although there are some really good songs. Deliver Us is fucking awesome. Fear is the Weakness is really good. Where Dead Ships Dwell is honestly, I feel like one of their better songs that they've written.
Streets are getting smaller.
But overall, as an album, not good. C tier.
Yeah, if you are only now cringing at their album titles, you haven't been paying attention to their songs or lyrics because they've been cringe since the get-go. This does mark the departure of founder and guitar player Jesper Stromblad, and I think they tried to like make sure that they like smoke screen that by like making sure all the In Flames tropes are here and the Spanish guitars and the classical stuff. And I do like the atmosphere. I think that they kind of tried to lean a little bit more into like the melancholic kind of vibe, and I think that it fits the band. Honestly, this was one of the albums that I was like, oh, I'm curious to return to this one. I gave it a B-. I do like the songs Deliver Us, Darker Times, and A New Dawn. I have a B-. You have C.
Thing is I don't think it's as good as Come Clarity or
Lunar Strain. Yeah, no,
not
I
even
agree.
Close.
Do you want to put it in front of Reroute and call it that?
I wouldn't even call it. I would put it here.
Okay.
But I know you hate Reroute, but I would never put. I would even that actually.
Sure. Okay. I think the C tier albums so far are albums that I would like make a playlist out of or something like that.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not charmed by this album at all.
They lost their charm. Okay, Siren Charms 2014. This, to me, is like a half-baked mashup of metalcore, melodic death, alt metal, industrial. This is forgettable in their modern era. There's some good songs filled with cringe moments from Anders. I don't know, dude. Like, it could be worse, I guess. I mean,
could it?
I have a few songs I liked. Everything's Gone, When the World Explodes, and Monsters in the Ballroom, which is like one of their worst song titles ever. They're fine songs, but guaranteed to have some Anders moments that will make you go, ugh.
This album is abysmal, dude. Far too gone from the band's identity. The production is also a huge step backwards, in my opinion, from Sounds of a Playground Fading. This sounds like Korn's discarded and bad ideas, and I'm a fan of Korn, and this just does not sound good at all. The vocals are horrendous. They're not focused. They're loud as hell, so you can hear all of the imperfections. It's like nails on a chalkboard to me.
Yeah.
I don't like a single track on this album. Total skip.
Damn.
D tier.
I have it at C-, so I think D is completely fair.
Yeah, this is just, I think it's this one, right?
Do you think about the end?
That gets us to Battles 2016. This felt like a tiny step forward, but overall still a miss for me. Many of the songs feel like B-sides from A Sense of Purpose or Sound of a Playground Fading in a lot of ways. Like they just kind of took old ideas from old eras they didn't use and rehashed them. The choruses, again, they lack the identity that I love in the band, and I have a very hard time getting into the tracks on this album. There's just nothing that's memorable to me. I don't really like any of these songs, but it is still an improvement over Siren Charms, but barely. It's D tier for me.
I think that this album should be renamed Ballads by Killswitch In Flames. It's like every other song is a fucking metalcore anthem. The Children Choir? What the fuck, dude? It only works in one song. Take them out of the rest of the songs. They're junk. They do a better job with their epic song. You know, they have a 7-minute track, Wallflower, which is okay, except for Anders's fucking singing, dude. It's horrible. I'm uninterested in this, like straight up, dude. There's a couple songs in here that are fine. I thought Through My Eyes was fine. Except the solo that comes in, it's fucking 4 dB louder than the rest of the mix. I don't understand how that passed like quality inspection, dude. Like, It's just like, oh, here's the base level of the song, of the audio, and then it's like, oh, here's the solo. You can hear the solo. Fuck off, dude. Like, yeah, I fucking hate this. Like, yeah, D. Fuck this album, basically.
God, dude.
I didn't expect to get so riled up.
So passionate about battle. Yeah, I agree. I the Mask in 2019. Finally, the bite is back in the band, and the production rules again. There's some decent songs on this record, and you can hear In Flames is starting to get more of their aggression and melodic riffing back into the mix on top of that alt metal sort of sound. Anders also sounds great on this album. His performance is really good. Unfortunately, though, it falls flat on the choruses and many of the songs on the record. Many of the tracks start great, but they just lose all the momentum mid-song. I won't listen to this album, to be honest, but there are a few good songs. You know, I the Mask is really good. I Am Above and Burn, those are awesome. Although it's an improvement, it's still a D tier and skippable in my opinion.
Yeah, I have it at C. I thought that the first handful of songs showed a lot of promise. Back to that bite, you know, that kind of shit. Still kind of arena rock territory, but still pretty heavy. It starts to really get like butt rock anthem around Follow Me and This Is Our House, which are fucking garbage songs.
Yeah, they are.
You say you want it all.
It's a real mixed bag here, and I think that for them to hit the brakes a little bit after this album and come out with Foregone, it was probably the best thing that they could have done. I like the song Voices. I the Mask was pretty strong. Call My Name was fine. I have it at C. Is that generous?
I think it's a little generous.
Yeah.
I think it's at the top of the D heap.
Top of the D.
Yeah,
All right.
I mean, these albums are definitely better, and then
I
each
agree.
of their own.
Yeah. Okay. I was being generous.
Who made your makers? You receive the final key. These are
Now let's get to the brand new album. Does Chris Broderick bring the Jagdpanzer into the fight for In Flames? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fuck yeah.
from here. You think you
I would say that this is the return that many In Flames fans of the Clayman through Come Clarity era were hoping for. The production on this record is top notch. It's probably their best sounding record in their entire catalog, to be honest. The entire band, too, the performances sound excellent. The solos are awesome. The vocals are beautifully performed. Anders sounds inspired and vicious as hell. His screams are awesome.
destroy the things you know. Destroy yourself in shame.
And there's a lot of creative and catchy parts on this album, in my opinion.
Yeah, dude. The addition of Chris Broderick and Tanner Wayne, the former Chiodos and Under Oath drummer, dude, bring much needed talent to this band. I think that the band has always kind of had a difficult time like navigating their like post-hardcore, metalcore, alternative metal sound. In revisiting their discography only reinforced that for me. Sometimes getting the right people in the right positions will just fucking elevate your game, dude.
Yes.
That's why I love collaboration. That's why all my solo shit is like meh, and everything that I've done with you and other people is always like elevated so much more. Dude, the second half of this record is a little less interesting for me. The band still kind of shows that they want to do those like new metal ballads and those arena rock kind of anthems. Dude, songs like State of Slow Decay, The Foregone 1 and 2, fucking awesome tracks, dude.
Yeah.
I love the solos on here. Chris Broderick sounds insane. I do love Anders' performance. There's really very few parts on here where I'm like, ugh, you know. I put this at a B-, man. I think that this is a solid record for them to come back to.
Yeah, I think there's beautiful use of contrast in the compositions, from like light and emotional sections to punishingly heavy old school melodic death metal and speed riffing. Those halftime drums with the speed up guitars, just awesome. Somehow the band found a way to take the best moments of Clayman's creative and heavy melodic death metal riffing and their modern alternative metal sound to craft some very impressive and almost like, I don't want to say masterful, but masterful in their name songs. There are a few filler tracks on the record. There's a couple of parts where Anders' lyrics kind of miss for me and they're a little on the nose, but it feels good to say though that In Flames know how to fucking throw down again. This is absolutely going to stay in my metal rotation this year.
Yeah, man.
B's here for me.
Fuck yeah, B. So here we go, down to the nitty gritty.
I honestly am happy with it.
Yeah, you wouldn't change it? I honestly, dude,
no.
I'm gonna jerk your load a little bit. I'd put Clayman at the top, even before Horacle.
Oh, you mean swap these?
Yeah. Like that's 1 and 1.1. If I was to be like, yo, check out fucking In Flames, I would hand them both of those records. But I would say, listen to Clayman first.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can totally agree with that. Everything else, I think you're kind of splitting hairs here, but I absolutely think that this is absolutely how I would rate them. If I'm going to go back and listen to In Flames albums, those top 4.
100%. Yeah, and I think the rest, like I said earlier, B and C, make a playlist, you know, pick a few songs out of each because there's definitely fillers. Dude, I told you this earlier before we started, like the highs are high and the lows are fucking low for this band. So it is what it is. Anders is kind of a wild card. Remember that this is our subjective opinion, but we're curious to know yours as well. So leave them down in the comments.
We've already done a bunch of album tier lists in 2023. Check out Obituary and Catatonia right here.
Go with the gods, Forgemates. The jester race is ongoing. Don't lunar strain yourself.